Clerks is one of those movies that no matter what you do in life, you watch it and you're like, God, I can fucking relate to that. Unless you're rich. Then in that case, nah, you really can't. But Clerks follows the adventures of Dante and Randall as basically just the day in the life of a store clerk. Now, this movie is shot in black and white. And when I originally had heard about the movie, I had already seen Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. So I knew of those characters, Jay and Silent Bob. And then I heard that you could see those characters in other movies, earlier ones. And I didn't even know that Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was a sequel to anything. I just thought it was an entertaining movie. Kind of one of those like um, idiotic Leslie Nielsen Naked Gun movies. Like those were really great. But I watched that, loved it, and then I wanted to know everything I could know about this universe because watching the movie and seeing all the different characters, I was like, oh, okay, all right, I can get to know these characters more. So awesome. So when I heard Clerks, the first one, that was the one that I went to first, and I heard it was in black and white, and that automatically threw me off because I at the time wasn't really into anything that was different. I mean, if it wasn't action or Batman or Star Trek, like I really didn't get into it so much. But I was like, nah, screw it. Jay and Silent Bob's in it. Some of the people that were in that movie were in it. I'll give it a watch. And I watched it, and it was just a lot of the situations were just really stupid. The people you get to know in that movie are people that you can relate to if you've ever worked at a gas station, which I have. I've worked at Casey's General Store, and I've also worked at Sap Brothers. And so a lot of the idiocracies from the customers really bleed through into this movie. And I think that's why it's so successful, is because every one of us that work kind of dead end jobs that we hate, and we go to work and we're kind of, gritting our teeth like, oh, damn it. Um, we go to work and we have that sense of life's not really going to get any better. We're just kind of existing. And that's where this movie perfectly plays that. Dante wasn't supposed to go to work that day. It was supposed to be his day off. He gets called in. His boss calls him in. So he goes into work like so many of us have. I mean, how many of us have had a day off and our boss calls us in and is like, oh, we need you in. So-and-so called in. And you're like, God damn it, you owe me. And, ironically thinking that our bosses will actually, pay up and, be absolutely grateful and give us what we deserve. And, honestly, we're there for a day's work for a day's wage is what we get. Um, the character that I related to most, honestly, as much as I liked Randall, he's the funniest character in the movie, probably one of the best characters in the View Askew universe. But as much as I loved Randall, I've got to say that I really related with Dante. From getting kind of screwed over by your boss to the whining, because I mean, I admit I'm a wine bag when shit doesn't go my way. I'm like, aw, really? Um, and just like he does. So it was one of those things where I could really relate to that character in the movie. As much as we all want to be Randall, unfortunately, most of us are kind of leaning toward the Dante route. Um, but the whole movie goes through the day in the life of this guy who has Dante has a girlfriend who's pretty supportive of him, but he kind of has feelings for this other girl and, one of his ex-girlfriends, and eventually kind of has that point where he could get back with her, and, he's kind of he kind of has his foot in that door and still kind of has his foot with his, girlfriend, and it's one of those things where it's like, personally, I haven't really gone through that, but I know a lot of people that have that kind of want their cake and eat it too. They want a security of a girl, but yet they want the passions of the ex, the old flame. And that's kind of relatable. We all kind of want what we can't have, or we all kind of look at the past as being better than what it was. And I think that, like, honestly, more to the point of the movie than being just a day in the life of. Like, I think that was kind of the point. Like, we all kind of want what we can't have, and we should kind of be grateful for what we do have, which was, Dante's girlfriend, the one who brings him lasagna, the one who kind of wants him to go further in life, the girl who kind of just has his best interest at heart, even though the guy doesn't deserve it. For me, like, I look at my life and I'm like, I look at my wife and I'm like, I don't deserve that. Because she's kind of done the same thing, like, encourages me to be better than I am. Because honestly, if it was me, I'd still probably be fucking working Dairy Queen and, working 45 hours a week and not getting any time to myself to do what I want to do, getting nowhere fast. I may work a lot of hours now, but at least I've got something to show for it. I wanted to improve my quality of life. And she was a real big inspiration behind that. And I think in this movie, like, it's kind of bittersweet because he kind of learns that same lesson, but it's kind of too late. He's kind of lost the girl. His ex, although the situation with her, she screws a dead corpse and, gets kind of locked away in a mental institution. It's funny, but despite all those things, like, I still think there's a pretty sound story there. Guy who's, just, I don't know. I found it very, very relatable. To anyone that can get past the black and white aspect, I don't know if that's a big deal for any of you guys. I know some people that, they see black and white and they're like, no, I'm not watching it. But honestly, I would give it a chance because it's a very original movie. For anyone that's kind of starting out of high school or left high school, hasn't quite gone to college yet, I'd say watch the movie. It's a great movie. I'd say for anyone that works at gas stations or fast food restaurants, kind of the small mom and pops type places, not McDonald's type corporations, that would be Clerks 2. But for, like, Dairy Queen or smaller type venue, this would also be a movie that's pretty relatable. Um, Anywhere where you work with a small group of people that you kind of look at it and you're like, I can relate to this person, or I know that person. I've seen that customer. Like, there's this one customer in there that says, what, you guys are out of ice? You mean I got to drink this coffee hot? And no shit, I've had that same complaint at Sat Brothers and at Casey's. So, like, I kind of got to wonder if that's life kind of, smiling at me saying, good boy, or just a wink and a nod, to me or something. But either that, or we've got some fucking stupid people in this world, and that's what this movie kind of accentuates is the idiocracies of some of the customers. There's a customer that rolls eggs on the floor and is looking for that perfect dozen of eggs and breaks them because we've got to have standards. And that's overcomplicating a situation, but most customers are that way. They don't see what you're actually doing. They want their standards upheld, and 9 times out of 10 your expectations are just fucking crazy. But Jay and Silent Bob are in this movie too. They're not as funny as in, like, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, probably because they just started off in the film and their characters really hadn't developed as much. Pardon me. But it's a really good movie. The four main characters, which is Dante, Randall, Jay, and Silent Bob, are all good characters. Are all pretty, interesting. Then you have the girlfriend, and then you have the ex-girlfriend who comes in a little bit later on. Those are the two kind of sub characters, I would say. But honestly, it's just really a good movie. If you've ever worked with, like, your best friend, this movie you would probably relate to it because these two guys, they're inseparable. They know each other, the ins and outs of everything. That sounded kind of weird. That sounded really off. But they know each other so well. They're best friends. So if you've ever worked with your best friend, like, you'd probably understand where these two characters are coming from. But like I said, it's a really good movie. It's a good start, and it's not necessarily a movie that you need to start at, because I certainly didn't, but it was certainly worth the watch. And if you have all of them, if you got a free Saturday or something, you want to have some good movies, some good laughs. Honestly, start with Clerks, go to Mallrats, go to Chasing Amy, go to Dogma, hit Jay and Silent Bob, and finish it off with Clerks 2. And I'm telling you, man, that's some good times, man. I could watch that all day. All those movies I could watch all day, and I could do that every weekend and probably not get bored because they're all pretty good movies. And each time you watch it, you see something a little different, or even if it's just background music, because sometimes I pop in the movie and I'll just have background noise and I'll draw or something, and it's funny. You know, it's a good movie. So I would recommend it. If you haven't watched it, fucking watch it.